Now, the show Cosmos is back. Neil deGrasse Tyson is hosting it, and creationists are having an absolute conniption fit. Like, how could they do this talking about evolution? We brought you the story of how a station in Oklahoma cut the last 15 seconds of the program where they talked about evolution. They say, well, it might have been a mistake. Might have been. Okay. And then there were a great number of people who were outraged that he did not mention other theories about evolution, like for perhaps Christ Jesus. It was literally one of the tweets he got as a complaint. How come you didn't mention Christ Jesus? That would be a different program. Okay, and there's plenty of that on television. So now the creationists are not done. They're going to bring in Danny Faulkner. He's an astronomy professor and creationist. Interesting. And he's going to go on another creationist program, and they're going to bitch and whine. Let's watch.
Now, do they do any interviews with scientists themselves during this whole thing, and do they ever give a creationist any time?
Well, no, the creationists aren't even on the radar screen for them. They wouldn't even consider us plausible at all. I don't recall having seen any interviews with people. That may yet come, but it's based upon the narration from the host and then various types of little video clips of various things, cartoons and things like that.
Boy, but when you have so many scientists who simply do not accept Darwinian evolution, seems to me that that might be something to throw in there. Sometimes, you know, the old, some scientists say this, others disagree and think this, but that's not even allowed.
No, and not even the recognition that abiogenesis, belief in that, is contrary to good science. I was struck in the first episode where he talked about science, how that, you know, all ideas are discussed, you know, everything's up for discussions, all on the table, and I thought to myself, no, consideration of special creation is definitely not open for discussion, it would seem.
He's talking to host Janet Mefferd. They're both outraged that there was not proper balance. Neil deGrasse Tyson in the past has talked about this. He said, look, it's a free country. You're allowed to think that the Earth is flat, but you're not allowed to be correct. You can say it all you like, and he's not going to air that on his program. He's not going to tell you that if you jump off a building that you won't fall. You will. It's gravity. It's real. And he's not going to present things that are not based in science. These guys call it creation science. Doesn't mean it is science. You know what it is? They say, all right, well, okay, I hear you. And now you say this happened, and then perhaps there was some evolution of a butterfly, etc. And then, but if you go back a little further, God, Christ Jesus. But that's not science. That's like your theory, man. Okay, but it's not a theory that could be tested. See, in order for it to be scientific, it would have to be tested, and then you would see it happen time and time again. You can't go back and say, okay, all right, what do you got there? I see evidence of this, and I see how the planets formed, and I see how we had evolution on this Earth. And could you go ahead and test my theory about Jesus of Nazareth? You can't really test it, man. All right, look, you want to believe that? Like Neil deGrasse Tyson says, it's a free country. But he doesn't have to put it on a program based in science.